Okay, guys, welcome to Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric Hobbs.
And I'm David Boldingen.
And yeah, Cardinals are starting the 2025 season. Opening days just around the corner. So let's talk about what we're going to see or not see if anyone doesn't pay attention. Before we start, subscribe and follow, please. YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, X, and Spotify. Okay. David, has there ever been an opening day, a day or two prior and all that, where there's been more apathy for the Cardinals that you've ever seen?
Since the 2000s, I don't think so. Before the 2000s, yes. Before the club was sold in 1996, I'd say there was, but there was also a strike and the team was bad in the early 90s and all that, whatever.
Right. Okay, so we're talking at least a generation, pushing two generations,
Yeah.
since you've seen apathy. Because even after the strike in '94, it would have been anger mixed in. This is just you guys have run this franchise into the ground, and if you're not going to take it seriously, why should we? Um, Either way, this team is going to play 162 games, and well, they have elected basically to go with a youth movement to reinvigorate the club and the franchise from the top down. And when I say youth movement, I mean they have decided to run it back exactly with the same team they had last year, because that's what a youth movement is apparently.
Well, except without Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah. Yeah, they got rid of Goldie. Youth movement. Um, it's not even criticizing getting rid of Goldschmidt. It's a little bit of the same problem that the Blues had, where they're tweeners and they did not want to admit they had too much ego involved to absolutely nuke the thing, take a year of winning 60 games, and then come back in 2028, 2029 winning 100 games. So
Well, and
the ego there has left everything with the Cardinals in purgatory, basically.
quite honestly, the whole organization needs a restructuring, and this comes from when they lost their minor league development scout to Houston mid 2000s,
Yeah.
and it's just been downhill ever since. The development, the everything across the board, really, quite honestly. So I don't even know. Mozeliak's last year. I don't know if we'll see much different next year, quite honestly, because you still have the people up top running things and they don't want to admit that they were wrong. So who knows?
Yeah. Now, we got kind of a look at this team with what we think will probably end up being the starting lineup and I guess day-to-day lineup. Monday night they had their exhibition game against Memphis. They were one pitch from being shut out by the Memphis Redbirds. That one pitch was an Arenado three-run home run, and that was the difference. But I think you'd like to see a team. They did have 12 hits, let's be fair, but I think you'd like to see them be able to manufacture runs and string hits together against their own minor league farm system.
Well, it's kind of been a story of spring training too. Some days they just pile on the numbers, and then other days they might have the hits, but they can't get anybody in. So, quite
Or
kind of
maybe
like
the
what,
maybe the farm system's just that far along.
yeah. Which is even more of a
Um,
head scratcher if that's the case.
yeah, no. You know, you look at it and not a lot of surprises going on. I mean, there's not going to be surprises when you're literally running it back with the exact team you had and doing whatever you're doing. Honestly, I think this year's a holding pattern to save face for Mosaic, but that's neither here nor there. This team, they just didn't have a whole lot of anything. When you look at offensively, I guess I think there's reason to hope that Wilson Contreras at first base will be more productive than Goldschmidt was at first base a year ago. I think there's reason to hope for that.
And uh, Ivan Herrera taking over for Contreras behind the plate. Last season was hitting 301. So, I mean, putting his bat in there consistently with Contreras could really help boost some things. I mean, if they live up to their stats and expectations, quite honestly.
Yeah, Mason Wynn really settled in the second half of 2024. I think for him, yeah, avoid the sophomore slump, I guess might be the biggest thing. Um,
Well, then you have Brendan Donovan kind of taking over second base over Gorman. And Gorman might be doing spot DHs and
yeah,
fill-ins here and there for both short and second base would be my guess.
could even go back to third.
Yeah.
Remember, he was a third baseman, and then as soon as the Cardinals traded to acquire Nolan Arenado, he saw the writing on the wall and learned second base.
Well,
He's a third baseman by nature.
he might have to just to give Arenado some rest here and there because right now I don't think we have a true third baseman other than him on this
Right.
roster.
And the outfield, Newbar, can he stay healthy? Siani, the defense is there. Can he be healthy? Victor Scott, your center fielder, perhaps the surprise of camp, all spring training. Starting at center field again, defense. I think you feel more comfortable than with the offense. Although the offense, his bat's progressing. Go with that.
And he has the speed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Kind of reminds
If
me
Mason Wynn can have some power, maybe even Victor Scott as a leadoff guy, if he can get on base enough.
kind of
It's
reminds me of that Harrison Bader style play with the
yeah.
speed. Yeah.
He could be a perfect nine hitter as well. And honestly,
Well,
I think that's more likely.
and I think your three outfielders are going to be Newt Bar, Walker, and Scott with Ciani coming in for Walker.
Right. Yeah,
Uh,
Jordan Walker was who we hadn't talked about. Everything with him is well documented. Can he get the ball in the air? And can he figure out what in the heck he's doing out in right field?
well,
Can he
and if you get
skyrocket his defense to be a not that great defender instead of absolutely hideous?
and if he gets steady playing time, I think it could really help him too.
Yeah, that one I don't know. That's one where I fully expect one day they're gonna either trade him or just cut bait, whatever, and he's gonna go to another team with competent, management and fundamentals and coaching and all that. I fully expect that to happen at some point. I just do.
And then
And
they
now we
have
haven't we haven't talked about pitching, David, which, uh, you know, all right. Let's look at your starting rotation, which will be five to start. And then when Steven Matz moves the rotation April 16th, you're looking at a six-man rotation. The bright side of having a six-man rotation, guys like Miles Michaelis are not pitching every fifth day, specifically Michaelis, but also, frankly, Libertor.
yeah, and it's been well documented. Both of those guys last year struggled to get through the lineup the third time around.
Yeah.
So giving them an
And I
extra
would
day.
suggest Miles Michaelis struggled to get through the lineup the first time around.
Correct. But giving them that extra day of rest may help with that. At the same time, I mean, there's just a couple of games less. You see Michaelis if he's really struggling this year. How long did they keep some of those pitchers in AAA down? They had a couple of decent starters down there that we've been developing. We might end up seeing a couple of them make spot starts here and there too. And then can they stay healthy? It's another big one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That I think goes mostly for Steven Matz. Matz thought to be that left-handed starter, and it's just been injury after injury for him to the point where now long relief might be the ticket. Oh, who knows what the Cardinals are doing with this six-man rotation? It frankly might be. to avoid like guys, man, these guys are all terrible. Let's just not have any of them try to get 35 starts.
So that may be Sonny Gray and Eric Fetty.
Yeah, I mean, it could I I kind of liked what Tony La Russa used to do with Chris Carpenter and with Wainwright back in the day, where they pitched every fifth day, and then the less talented starters worked in their rotation around that.
Mm.
I'd consider doing that with Sonny Gray. I mean, my question, and this is just something where coaches are going to have to make an assessment, can his arm handle it going every single fifth day? Yeah, it's well documented after about 85, 90 pitches, he falls off a cliff. He's not super durable within one start. Are there going to be stretches where you need to just make sure he has 5, 6 days off, maybe even a week or longer? I don't know. I think that's
which would
something to keep an eye on, though.
which could be where Matz comes in.
Yeah. You look at the bullpen, David. I expect Ryan Helsley to be among the league leaders in saves again.
If they get to that
And
point.
I think he'll be there simply because how often are the Cardinals going to win by 4 or more runs? Not
Yeah,
often.
true. That's kind of how it was last year. When I won, it was
Exactly.
by
Yeah, it's
one or
going to be the
two.
same as last year. Such a
Yeah.
high percentage of the Cardinals' wins are save opportunities that they're going to put Helsley out there so much. They're not going to win 6-1 games very often.
And
Because
to
yeah,
Helsley,
they can put up 6 runs, but do you trust this pitching staff to keep anybody to 1, 2 runs? I
yeah,
don't.
and to Helsley's credit, he held up last year.
Yeah, yeah, that has to happen. He has to perform, otherwise, this it's going to be brutal. And going through I'm looking at the bullpen and man, oh man, I just don't know. Jojo
Jojo,
Romero, you feel good about.
yeah.
Fernandez, when he's on, he's good. John King, steady without being spectacular. After that, gulp. I've
Kyle
seen enough of
Lehigh,
Chris Roycroft
yeah.
that I'm convinced as soon as he leaves the Cardinals organization, his big league career is over. I don't think he's a major leaguer. And I guarantee, based on last year, Marmol will throw him out there 35, 40 times, and his ERA will be comparable to the temperature. Um, I don't know. It's strange because this team is not going to lose 60 or lose 100 games rather. They're not I don't even think they're that much below 500. It's just the front office has just taken so much hope and crushed it. So, knowing that, let's talk predictions for this season, David. What do you give us a win
uh,
loss? Give us a win loss record.
what is it? I'm going 80 and 84.
It's
Just under.
two games under. So what?
Yeah.
80 and 82 would be 2 games under.
Is it two?
Yeah,
182. That's right. Sorry. Yeah. So it'll be 80 82 is what I'm thinking. 2 games under.
yeah. You know, the start to the season is so critical because they're going to be playing in empty stadiums at Busch. The environment is going to be depressed. We know that. If this team starts 5-12 or something, it's going to go downhill in a big hurry, and the bottom could fall out. So with that, I've got this team at I'll go 83 and 79. I think they're going to play better than honestly people the attitude of the franchise and the fan base is, but a couple games over 500. There'll be talk about should the Cardinals make a move at the deadline. They'll either not do anything and talk about how aggressive they tried to be, or they'll do something that makes no sense. And by mid-August, they'll be out of the playoff race.
The interesting point on that would be how Arenado's doing because I know they tried to get rid of him during the offseason, but if he goes on a tear, um, could he be one of those pieces that they could trade off if he's
Yeah.
willing to go there? That's the key. He has to be willing.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
some of the teams that we're looking are playoff type teams. So maybe after the Cardinals have paid him more of his salary and there's less left, maybe they'll be more willing to take a little bit more on. I don't know.
but
Um,
There, I mean, don't get me wrong, these young guys do have upside, but if it's a matter of can they put it all together, and if they can, I agree with you, they can definitely be over 500, but until then, I got to see it. The other comment about the fans being there, I mean, case in point, look at opening day. There's seats everywhere that are available, and some of that's because the organization decided to charge an arm and a leg just for that first game, too. So,
yeah, we posted that just before filming this. $100 to have a seat in the stadium. That's before all the taxes and fees and all that nonsense. Lots of seats are still available. Uh, a family of four can get tickets together in the lower bowl as of us filming this without a problem.
I mean,
So
quite honestly, if especially if they have a bad start, you're going to have more people at Battlehawk games when they play at the
yeah,
same time the Cardinals do. Quite honestly, and I don't
I
blame the
agree.
fans.
Nope,
It's
not at all.
so, but hopefully they get off to a hot start, and if they do, we'll keep you guys updated with everything St. Louis Cardinals. So continue to watch us, and we'll keep you updated with all things St. Louis sports. Thank you.